Regal Movie Masters. Unlimited.
This is the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast where we indiscriminately watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local theaters. Your movie masters today, Artistine, Brent,
I am your friend.
Dylan,
What's up?
and myself. I'm Colin. We got a threefer here today. Knock at the Cabin, the newest film from auteur M. Night Shyamalan. 80 for Brady, and Living as a postscript. But before we get into that, this is my weekly beg for anyone to send us an email. I'm worthy of love. We are all worthy of love, and you can show us love by emailing us at moviemasters760@gmail.com. I have a scheme within schemes, much like House Atreides. I have a master plan. I plan on assembling a list of movies that you guys suggest us to watch. So please email that list, any suggestions you have for movies to watch, to moviemasters760@gmail.com. It can't be fun until we put a big old list together. So hit us with a movie and what it's streaming on. We'll put it in a pot and then pick it randomly, but the pot isn't big enough yet. Also, any questions or comments you want to have read on the show, just let us know if it's okay to use your name or not when you're emailing us at, once again, moviemasters760@gmail.com. What's that? What's that?
Sounds like you're knocking on wood.
Yeah, I'm just knocking on a table, but I'm simulating here is a Knock at the Cabin, which is the new film directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It takes place, you're never going to believe this, guys, in a cabin.
But where's the cabin?
The cabin is in the woods, and I swear to you, I looked up the information of this movie.
Pennsylvania.
And I was like, cabin in the woods. Oh, what? Joss Whedon's on this? That's crazy. It took me like 10 minutes to realize I was looking up.
The wrong movie.
Yeah, Knock at the Cabin is not Cabin at the Woods or The Cabin or any other variation thereof. It's Knock at the Cabin. We got Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge. It's directed by M. Night. And it's his family. They're in a cabin, right, in the woods in Pennsylvania, as we've noted. And they get a knock, and it's these four little religious zealots. And they're like, hey, you got to make a crazy choice. One of you has to kill a member of the family, or the apocalypse is going to happen. And that's the whole goddamn movie. It's a fucked up premise, right? Can you imagine? Dylan, dude.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Well, I re-envisioned it in my head because that was like word for word what you said.
Right.
That's what Dave Bautista said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. I can imagine.
Look, you don't get cool points for hating M. Night Shyamalan at this point, right? Like, it's kind of, I don't revel in it. I'm not proud of myself. It's not like I want, bonus points or something like, hey, I'm one of the cool guys that hates M. Night Shyamalan. No, it sucks. I hate being cursed with this, but I went into this with some kind of optimism because I saw that there's like some co-writers of the script. And I was like, maybe
and
this.
that he didn't write it.
He co-wrote it with two other guys.
Paul Tremblay did the book.
Yeah,
and then
it's
it was
like based
adapted.
on something.
Sure.
So it's not just M. Night's.
Yeah. You're not just in the ill mind of M. Night. And so I'm like, that could be good.
Yeah.
Like I remember hearing that in Star Trek, there's a guy who just writes all the tech stuff. Like someone's like, here's my story, here's the characters, here's the dialogue. And then at some point, a tech thing happens and they're in somewhere else. And then he hands it to the guy who writes the tech stuff. And the tech guy goes, and the quantum, dilithium shits go off and it's crazy, So yeah, I was like, maybe this is the cure. Because my gripe with M. Night Shyamalan is that his dialogue is otherworldly and always kind of feels like someone who has never actually interacted with humans, or is some like game of telephone where like human interaction has just been lost in translation. And I thought maybe this will be the different factor. Maybe the guys come in who write the stuff. They're like the tech guys on Star Trek. They come in and they're like, and then a person says something to the effect of this, and then they come along and they write it the way a human being would say it, and then you have a movie. Because he does stuff well. I think he does like suspense shots decently, and he has decent concepts. There's like good ideas kind of at the core of some of his movies. I don't like his movies. I don't. For a period, I was like morbidly fascinated with them because they were so atrocious. I was trying to like Tommy Wiseau the guy before Tommy Wiseau existed. And I'm trying to walk away from that. I'm not trying to be, that on that level anymore, and just trying to take it for what it is. But basically, in the first line of dialogue, I was like, "Oh no, that's not what's happening. This is still a very M. Night movie cranked up to 10."
How so?
It is tough with directing children and having children do dialogue in general, because there's just kind of a layer of difficulty there in having them act naturally. And so when it starts with the little girl and she's like talking about bugs in a jar, and from like the trailers and stuff, it's going to be people and stuck in a place. Oh, those bugs never really get resolved, do they?
No.
Okay.
Like they make it seem like it's going to have something to do with something.
Yeah.
Like the locusts show up.
Yeah,
she's
getting grasshoppers. She's collecting them and like having conversations with them, and it's just like, oh boy, yeah, this is exactly how this is. And essentially, just as the movie goes on, and this is just, I don't know, my pet peeve, I guess, but it's just all that kind of dialogue, like these impressions of humans interacting with each other, that just irks me so much that I kind of can't connect with these films. It's almost like I'm learning what works about movies when I see like a void, because there's like a vacuum of character development or like natural dialogue in these movies that just makes them very oppressively boring to me, despite the fact that there are things like, a pretty interesting premise, right? Justine, you like biblical stuff. Did this have any connection to you in that regard?
No, I was disappointed because, I got that they were supposed to represent the horsemen like right when they showed up. It's like, all right, there's 4 of these people. But then there's no supernatural element really, to the people. You don't even see their connection to the events that are happening. And the events that are happening aren't the things that the horsemen do either.
Right.
So it's like a flood, airplanes, wildfires, the flu. It's just like, these are not the things that the horsemen bring. So it lacked that also. So it's kind of like, these are just some random horsemen. I like the idea, if it had really been horsemen, it does seem like a short story that I would read. But since it wasn't horsemen really, it was just kind of like, then what's the point of these people? It didn't have them being supernatural, which I wish they did. Instead, it was just, we don't know why we're chosen. We're just 4 random people that have visions. Well, then how did you get to know which one you were?
Yeah.
And like they build like a specific weapon, but there's nothing that tells you why they build those weapons, and it doesn't look like anything that goes along with their, what is it called? Like in D&D when you make a character.
Their build?
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
So their weapon doesn't match their build at all.
Right.
And so it's like, well, then why do they even have that? That's dumb. There's just a lot of things that are like, they're done and you think that they should connect to something, but they don't. I think that's something that he lacks often, which is just like, then this happens. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
The beach makes you old, you see.
Dylan, when the tsunami came in and hit the beach, did you think that people were going to turn old?
No, but my only old thoughts in my mind.
Here we go.
This is a spoiler for old.
The tie-in to the old verse.
Yes. When in the beginning, when Dave Bautista was like looking out in the fields, and then you don't see anything until like his friend, the other 3 show up. I was like, okay. And in my head, I was like, what if he starts looking out there again, and then you see M. Night in binoculars, like looking at the cabin to make sure all of it's happening. And I was like, oh my God, there's no fucking way he's gonna do that.
Yeah, he's really conditioned us to expect or maybe like brace ourselves for a lot of his own Shamalisms.
Yeah, because there is a cameo that he has, but
Oh God, I hated it.
It was so quick and like towards the beginning where I was like, maybe he's
Right.
not really like watching them.
Well, he's given us movies before where like the twist is there's no twist. I don't think it's at this point in his career. I can't believe I've watched so many of his goddamn movies as someone who like claims to dislike him. I have some strange Stockholm Syndrome with the guy.
Colin's a stan.
I can't deny it. There's more evidence to say that than to say that I'm disinterested in his films. I mean, it's a $30 million genre film.
Mm-hmm.
These are good things. These are like, normal things that used to happen in movies, and they're not things you see too often. The guy's got kind of a vision. I feel like he stays in his lane. You know who M. Night reminds me of? I think he is Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam had some very big, ubiquitous hits, many moons ago in the 90s. And those songs are in the pop culture now. They're pop up, you'll see a Sixth Sense on TNT. You'll hear a Jeremy on some classic rock radio station. It's fine. Just because they had these peaks, they kept going. But at the same time, just like you're not going to really hear a song off a new Pearl Jam album, like M. Night isn't shoving himself down your throat. Not at this point. I think he kind of is comfortable making these smaller, knowing what they are kind of movies that are in their lane. They take themselves very, very seriously. That's another kind of gripe I have is just the tone of them is very self-serious. But, at this point, he will hit you with a movie that isn't just a twist, which is the, dismissive way of going about his movies. Like, oh, they're just wait for the stupid twist at the end. Like, no, he's done several films where there's no twist. I think the twist in Old was just explaining the premise of Old at the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because that seemed like some kind of supernatural thing. And
Right.
I was like, no, it's
Science.
It's not.
Yeah. And
That's good. That's a twist. And it's a twist that people are like watching, That's a twist.
Right.
What other movie? I don't know. I've only seen, actually, I have no idea how many I've seen. Like, because I don't know.
Too many.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually know what's his. I know movies that are like him, which I assume are him, but I'm not quite sure. I know for sure I watched The Happening, which is another movie that takes place in a cabin in the woods.
That's his
Right.
only other R-rated movie.
Oh.
Interesting.
And then there's what's the one where they're also in a cabin in the woods and then it turns out it's just the woods.
The Village.
Village.
That's
There we
several
go.
cabins.
All right.
Don't forget A Lady in the Water, which is an apartment complex in
Yeah.
the suburbs, but whatever. Still enclosed location.
Yeah. His movies feel very claustrophobic and otherworldly in that they're like alien people.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, I was noticing it while it was happening. I was like, this is very boring. And nobody talks like people, and there's not a moment of like levity,
Right, yeah.
There's no breathing room for how like stilted the dialogue is and how serious everyone's being. And every bit of it is just like, oh man.
And I will say, if I'm, arguing for the film, I would say like, if there's anything that it accomplishes is maybe modernizing these choices that had to be made in like the Old Testament, like there was a lot of stories where it's like, yeah, kill your kid for me. Just do it. Okay, we're going to burn this whole ass city down. Go out. Don't look back. Like that kind of stuff. If you're going to ground that in, especially in modern times, that's a real serious, heavy choice to make. It's not even faith-based. It's like just a leap of logic ultimately, or like, selecting what logic you want to shape your worldview and how your worldview is going to inform your decision. I mean, it would be a very serious, heavy experience to be given that choice. But when it is all serious all the time and you watch, 100 minutes of like deathly seriousness, and it's kind of a little silly because no one talks normal and there's, really ridiculous moments of violence and there's a lot of things that just feel unreal, then all that seriousness maybe doesn't really serve the plot rather than, just make for a more oppressive viewing experience.
It's not very violent either. I mean, violence occurs, but it's not very violent.
Out,
Yeah.
And they don't show it.
And that's to my point. That's something I got to give the guy. Like, I think that stuff was well executed from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
You know, it was like you're wincing, you're squirming in your seat, but you're not really seeing a lot. It takes a certain amount of skill and technical craft to pull that off. So, you know, I'm not going to shit on the guy completely. Got that.
Did you have any emotions other than Justine mentioned boredom? Did you guys have any genuine emotions? Well, what did he accomplish making you feel any particular way that was perhaps intended?
Bummed out.
Yeah, I was sad the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, not because like I was bored or anything. I was bummed out. Like, damn, this story is fucking sad, bro.
Very bleak.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Why is it this couple?
To be positive, I think the timing for the movie worked out in the sense that it comes in proximity to the pandemic.
Right.
So we've just seen, a worldwide phenomenon that affected everybody. So I think that helped it somewhat. And it kept me, like Dylan said, just very sad the whole time. And I was but as Justine also mentioned, there was no levity. There was no moment of elation. It's just pure, like, this is just going to be a bummer, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cheating.
Yeah.
With the stuff about COVID. I'd like to read I don't want to read a whole book about it. Like I said, a short story is appropriate for a story like this. And I really like short stories that are kind of like this. Again, not an hour and 40 minutes, but I had a thought that it might be about COVID and about like your responsibility.
Right.
Or else other people will die.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay.
So that's the only thing that I was thinking maybe this was about. That kind of felt like, but there were just other things that were just shoved in there where it's like, there's this subplot of homophobic people.
Yeah, being
hurting
seen as a gay
things.
man.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, but it's like, literally nobody is oppressing you right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this, it's not anti-gay, but it seems kind of like, look how he got so scared and now he's a bad guy, one of the husbands.
Right.
I don't know what you're trying to tell me with this. And I really, really hated that flashback stuff.
Horrible.
Really, really poorly executed and totally takes you out of the moment of what's happening.
Right.
And so you're talking about how it seems like bleak and all this, and it's okay, maybe. But the tone totally shifts from like when you're kind of immersed, I guess, in this cabin situation, and then they're doing something totally different. Mm-hmm. I thought it's supposed to make you feel like, actually, I have no idea. Like, I thought it's supposed to make you feel like, okay, these are real people, like, that have lives. Like, maybe that's why they wouldn't want to kill each other. But we know they're married. They wouldn't want to kill each other. I don't have to see them picking their daughter up, or meeting each other's parents.
It didn't humanize
like
them more.
It does not at all.
Yeah, I think this is, again, if you're someone who doesn't actually understand people very well, like, you're like, this is how you humanize them. You show their backstory, which is probably technically true in some sense. But when you're telling such a plot-driven, situational story, and the stuff you're doing to like show human moments with the characters is like, they're two guys with an adopted daughter. We don't really need to see them adopting the daughter. Yeah. We kind of get that, right? So it shows them adopting the daughter. It shows them not really meeting, but like, being a family, having their parents over, and they don't really approve of them. And it's like, all right, I'll do the math on that, I guess. It's not particularly nuanced or interesting, but fair. Also doesn't tie into the story especially.
No, it's out of nowhere.
And then the real insult to injury, the flashback it shows is them driving up to the cabin. Like, yeah, we know they're in the cabin. We know they have an adopted kid. We know they're a gay couple. Like, these aren't the things you need to show us. You need to show us, I don't know, things that humans do so that we can see them as human. Brent, when you're asking if I felt anything, it's like I really didn't. And I never have with this guy's movies because he does not portray people well. I think we had a conversation when we watched Old, which we actually did do in the theaters when it came out. Right. He just needs to do anthologies. Like, this is a fine 30 to 45 minute story packed in with two other stories. Mm-hmm. And, pull different directors for different ones if you want. Do all you if you want to do it.
a cabinet of curiosities.
That's just the same thing, yeah.
Like, there's room for that, but like, yeah, this is a whole movie. I mean, it gets tedious when there's 4 people and they're like, every time this family doesn't kill a member of the family, we're going to kill one of ourselves. And once you see that happening, it's like, okay, this is fucking, this is fat. This is filler. Yeah. This is like padding out a movie because you have to watch all 4 of them die, or maybe not watch them die, but you know it's all going to tick away like that. And once you introduce flashbacks, it's like, okay, you're going to see literally what song they played on the way here. And like, it's just a slog. I don't know.
And it's especially stupid that they show each person die because it's like, all right, we know we have a lot of time, and so we have to have them all die. But they tell you what each death is going to do.
Right.
So you already know what's going to happen. And so each time somebody dies, all you're waiting for is for them to turn on the TV so that you can get a glimpse of the thing. That's the payoff that you get to see on the news, like what happened when the horseman died.
Right.
It's dumb. Like they tell you what's going to happen and then it happens and then you have to wait 4 times.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter. They still end up doing it.
And if the idea is like, is it a leap of faith for the most, extreme of choices, which is murdering a family member? I don't know. Like no one's in the right, there is still reason to be skeptical when they die and like an earthquake happens. There is still reason to doubt that, especially when we're talking about killing a loved one. That's bonkers.
Yeah.
In your head, did you accurately predict who would catch the bullet?
How could you? They're the same person. They're just two.
No, one of them cries.
No. All right.
Yeah, one of them believed him. The other one didn't.
See?
Dumbass.
One of them saw a figure behind the light.
You didn't catch that? Yeah. One was in the darkness. The other one was in front of the light. You didn't get that?
You know who's going to die because one of them is weak.
Yep.
And the other one is strong. That's pretty much
that was the twist.
How it's decided.
Right.
Weird side effect on this one. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I've never really liked Dave Bautista as a wrestler or as an actor. I liked him.
He was good.
Yeah.
I've never blamed an actor in an M. Night Shyamalan movie for being bad. I'm blaming what they're reading and how they're being told to read it. But I'm never blaming them. I mean, listen, the guy gave us Drax, like
it's just really weird that this is the role that made me go, oh, this guy's good. I like him. I thought he put a lot of effort into what he was doing in spite of what he was given.
Right.
And unlike other, I'll just say, aside from The Rock, it's very anti-rock. It's an anti-rock role. You know what I mean? Like he has like, a range that he's operating within. I hate to say this after the critique we just gave, but he felt a lot more dynamic than I ever gave him credit for in this movie.
Yeah, I bought that he was, this is how you would act if you were in this circumstance.
Yeah. Of all the characters, I liked him and I liked the little girl.
And again, it's weird to comment on the little girl because I just don't think she was really pushed well. It just seemed like a kid being a kid actor. She seems fun, right. It wasn't like agony watching her. But again, I'm never going to blame an actor, pro or con, in these movies because it's just this horrific Stockholm syndrome that they're involved in, shooting these pictures with this madman who does not know how humans are throughout his entire career.
And you can tell that he's the problem because everyone acts the same.
Right. Yeah. Same. Oh, the reporters on the TV act the same.
Yeah. Everybody does. So it's like, all right, well, this is what they're being told to do because this is what he thinks is what's good.
Right.
The only anger I felt during the film was, Dylan alluded to this, like M. Night put himself in this movie as well, and it's a very small cameo, but it just drove me crazy. I'm just like, can you just not have that thing that makes you want to be on the screen? I'm sure he thinks he's Hitchcock. A lot of these people do, that make these like suspense movies, but I just don't need to see his face ever again.
Look, Brent, I've been in the trenches, okay? Yeah. I watched him play the author who is going to save the world with his books and his words in Lady in the Water.
Right.
The one who was prophesized to bring change to the world, who all the critics will hate. But don't worry, the critic will be devoured by a demon dog or something. I watched his movies before.
So tell me this.
He's in a healthy place now. This is good for him. Let this go. This is like what do they call it? Like when California sober, when someone just smokes weed or whatever. This is like a hardcore junkie who is reformed and he wants to drink his coffee and smoke his cigarettes. Fucking let him, because he's in a better place now. Him doing a brief cameo in an infomercial in his film. That's his cigarettes and coffee. Don't take that from him.
Okay, so your pain with this director is a lot deeper than mine. So having lived through the slog that you have, that is his career, how do you think the public response is going to be to this particular film? Is he back?
No. And that's, again, this is Pearl Jam. This is Pearl Jam's 23rd album.
All right.
This is the one that has gone unnoticed, and you don't know a soul who likes them, and you don't know a soul who's like, dude, you need to hear the new Pearl Jam. It's so good. But clearly you're doing some math, and it's like, well, Pearl Jam keeps making albums. People are buying them.
Yeah.
They sell out. They're doing well for themselves. Like, Pearl Jam's doing good, but they're in their lane. Like, I don't know M. Night fans, like anyone who's like, no, dude, you don't get it. Let me break it down for you.
Right.
Here's what's going down. But like, his movies seem to understand where they need to be, and they do what they need to do so he can keep making them. It's going to be fine. It's going to be ignored. It's going to be forgotten about, just like Old was, just like the 5 movies before that was. This is his cycle right now. Pearl Jam's 23rd record. That's his cycle. He's just cranking them out. Whatever the one with the avocado on it was. It's just, that's him right now. No one's opinion is going to change. He's not going to win anyone over. He's not going to lose anyone. He's cranking it out. I'm happy that there's a place in cinema for movies like this, in the sense that it's like, again, a guy's vision, kind of budgety, it's genre-y. We should have more movies that check those boxes. I just really don't like these. This is how this box is checked.
Yeah, it's a shame that there's always, that's been the discussion for however many tens of years now, or since the 90s, is there aren't these mid-level movies anymore that are in that like $30 to $70 million range, and so we get one, and it's fucking M. Night.
Yeah, and I mean, whatever. There was people in the theaters. Like, it's not totally impossible to call this a night out. Like, it's is entertaining. ? I should note that I fucking hate Pearl Jam. Like, just for the record, fuck Jeremy, fuck all that shit.
You got me good with the avocado thing.
The yield sign one. No. I fucking hate Pearl Jam. And I don't like, but the thing is, I don't have to hate Pearl Jam. I don't have to actively hate Pearl Jam, because you can just forget about Pearl Jam really easily, because they're not shoving themselves down your throat. And that's why I fucking respect Pearl Jam. They're in their fucking lane. M. Night's in his fucking lane. I'm the one going to these fucking movies. This is my fault. And he's not shoving himself down my throat. And I in a way, I do respect them, but I do dislike them.
Got it.
I feel like your Pearl Jam analogy, I think that people going to see the movie would be disappointed, because it would be as if Pearl Jam had made like a rap song or something. So you're going to go to the M. Night movie thinking there's going to be a twist and it's going to be like a fun thing. And so you're like, all right, here we go.
Right.
And then it's this. And you're like, what? And so you're disappointed. And that's how I feel like people will approach this. And it kind of doesn't matter if he had those weird ones if they didn't have a twist, because everyone knows him as the twist guy. So if you go there and you don't get that, it's disappointing. I feel like people will be disappointed watching this movie, even if they like him, because I think they would expect him to have a twist. He did Old, which had a twist, and that was like, oh, he's coming back. He's going to be M. Night again. And then he did this, and so I think people would be disappointed.
You don't think it, well...
Maybe that's his twist.
Yeah.
He was like, you liked Old?
Yeah.
For the twist, here's this movie.
I think if you've been keeping up with him, this is very much in the wheelhouse of like the last decade or so of his movies. But yeah, if you're expecting Sixth Sense or whatever, you have no reason to. That's gonna be, again, that's on you. You went to the Pearl Jam concert and you heard 75% of it was songs off of their albums you don't know. That's on you. You don't know their albums. You haven't bought anything since Vitality. That's your problem.
Do you want to take a stab at what Pearl Jam rapping would sound like?
I don't fucking know. I don't even listen. I don't even remember how Jeremy goes.
No, it'd be a rap song.
But I don't even know what that guy sounds like. I've never listened to a full Pearl Jam song like on my own.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen that
awesome.
movie.
Well, he kind of does that.
Yeah, but I don't even know what that is. Like that just sounds like Jeremy's like Jeremy's Homer.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I know. And like I don't know any other part of that song. I can't name you anything.
You know Even Flow?
How does that one go?
Even Flow.
See, here's my problem.
You never seen the Adam Sandler making fun of him at least?
I don't remember.
Which is probably something I've seen more than
That's
actual
my
Pearl Jam
problem with
songs.
Pearl Jam. I just like I never like listen to them like willingly. Only like if it's on a radio that's like out of my control. I've never actually. I just zone out anyway. I tune it out, so it's not like I remember anything.
But to my point,
Yes,
that's exactly what I'm saying. They don't invade your life in the way that other artists do.
But because they have one song,
Yeah.
that's what you expect them to be.
They have, I'd say 3. Jeremy,
Okay, so
Even
M.
Flow.
Night has what?
no. You're looking at me. I told you so many.
Alive, maybe? Alive. Even Flow, Jeremy.
I just know there's an album
Yellow
cover.
Ledbetter?
I just know
I
there's
don't think anybody knows how that goes, aside
No.
from a Pearl Jam fan. Okay.
Yeah.
There's only an album cover I know of where they're like high fiving
Yeah.
or like.
Oh, that song Black, also from 10. Like the first album, basically.
Yeah,
Some of
exactly.
Vitalogy,
Again,
yeah.
it's been like 25 years since they've shoved anything down your throat as far as singles go.
Yeah.
You know what part I really hated? I don't even know how he puts it because it's M. Night dialogue, so it's not anything you could generate from your own brain. But he's like, oh, they embody the qualities of humans or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, malice, nurturing.
I heard my boy groan when that happened.
I'm trying not to be a dick at this point. It's not his fault. It's my fault. I'm the victim of my own hands.
Yeah, there was a point where I thought Colin might be enjoying the movie. Then I just heard him go, oh.
It's all.
Make that same noise.
Let's wrap up this shitting on M. Night session for the evening.
I was positive.
Okay, the knock at the cabin. Are we letting them in or are we shooing them away? I'm gonna say this is a big old. We don't want any. Don't knock anymore, please.
We don't want
leave.
Girl Scout cookies.
No, I don't enjoy these movies, but I watch them, so fuck me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let them in. I'm gonna wait for the real horsemen, the cool ones that do cool stuff. Even in X-Men, there's cool ones.
I mean, that's like the ultimate embodiment of how cool they are.
Oh, okay. Other than like actual supernatural demon stuff. But yeah, the X-Men ones are cool.
Bro,
Watch X-Men cartoons instead.
You can watch X-Men, which it's Age of Apocalypse. Underrated entry into the X-Men
Is it
canon.
underrated?
Yeah, fuck yeah, it is. I think anything past First Class is underrated, except for Dark Phoenix, which legit was terrible.
You can't say the stuff after First Class are underrated. People like those movies.
They should. They're great, but you
So
don't hear.
what's
They don't.
underrated?
You don't hear like I don't know a lot of talk about it. I think I would even say that both the Wolverine, that's Wolverine 2, right? And then Logan. I think Logan doesn't get talked about enough, and it gets talked about, but not enough.
What the fuck?
Wait.
It's been like 8 years.
Have you been hanging out with M. Night away from people?
No, I don't think those films get enough love. That's all.
What are you talking? I see Logan stuff like every now and then still. How much Logan love do you want from
More.
8 years ago?
More.
They even did Logan Noir with like the black and white.
Well, besides, we're picking on the main one. The Age of Apocalypse is legitimately that has mixed. That was
Age of Apocalypse?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That one, no one talks about that one, and I don't think people don't even talk about First Class really.
because there's so many.
I know.
And it falls under the shadow of 1 and 2. I'll give you that. But people still like those movies.
Well, as they should, but under
People don't even talk about how Oscar Isaac is in it.
true.
Well, I don't think he wants that.
Yeah,
Such
and
a just
everybody
team
loves
take.
him.
That's
I
the
don't
just
think-
team
I
take
don't think
ever.
Oscar Isaac wants that. He doesn't want you to remember that's him.
Well, that's how you know it's underrated.
Okay. So yeah, I'm too sad to even hear the door or answer the door. But I like Dave Bautista now, and that's so weird for me.
I'll let him in. I don't care. Kill my loved one.
Done it before.
If he's gonna, well, in this case, if he's being a fucking weirdo, like, don't believe him, it's because they're targeting us. I'd be like, I'll just kill him. Fuck him.
Okay, yeah, dude. So, like, M. Night just learned about homophobia? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, but he's not dedicated enough to like have two guys actually kiss on screen, or like
Hold hands.
yeah. This is the straightest gay couple you've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
These are regular old white guys. This is like.
That's weird.
I've never seen them in anything else.
Well, only M. Night. Oh, okay. And Dave Bautista, whatever. Wearing still the tightest shirt and pants they could find.
Yeah, well, hey, listen.
Okay, yeah, Daddy Gunn in this movie, like, he gave off no gay vibes whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, well, there was like, I think there must have been some confusion there, because they were like, hey, this is a movie where Dave Bautista's gay. I'm not crazy, right? That was like...
Oh, was he?
No.
Oh, that was the marketing for it?
Yeah, am I totally tripping?
No, but I think...
Bait and switch?
I think it's just, we just remembered it wrong.
That could be.
Because, like, there's the couple's gay, but he's just like, hey, from the trailer, he's like, we have to do this. They don't really tell you what it is. Then there's the whole, him talking about the tattoo he had to cover up because the tattoo was a logo for someone who was homophobic.
They don't talk about
What?
that.
You don't remember that? That's a different thing. That's not part of the movie.
That's
that was
just
like
in
an
real
interview
life?
he just did. Yeah.
What did he get covered up?
Oh, you're talking about in real life?
Yeah, he had a Manny Pacquiao tattoo that he like had to cover up because Manny's like homophobic.
I'm back to not liking
okay.
Dave Bautista.
No, he had a Manny Pacquiao tattoo, but then Manny Pacquiao turned out to be homophobic.
Yeah,
That's
so
what she said.
Oh,
he had
Okay.
So Manny
I like him again.
he had a logo, not the MP logo. He had like some other logo that he had for the team.
Batista has a lot of logos tattooed on it.
And Batista had that logo because he was kind of part of that whole like Manny crew.
Okay.
And then once he found out he was like a big homophobe, he's like, "Fuck that!" Got it covered up.
Dang, all right.
Like, that's pretty weird to have a face of Manny Pacquiao.
No, it's not his face.
tattooed
It's not
on
his
you.
face. It's like a weird logo that he has.
Yeah, I misinterpreted him
Okay.
at first. I thought he was talking about like Dave Bautista actually had a homophobic tattoo. I was like,
No,
what?
well, I mean, I guess you could, but an accident, not like on purpose.
Yeah.
But I think, well, maybe that's it. But I think we just remembered the trailer wrong.
Okay.
Because I remember him not being gay. He just was like,
Well, in
the
all
two
fairness-
guys in the chairs were gay, and we just assumed they were all gay.
He's not explicitly straight either. That is a ambiguity. He just
I guess, yeah. He just like
say it.
He did say we don't have a homophobic bone in our body.
That's the problem with heteronormalization. Is
And spoilers for anyone that is there for the Harry Potter fandom. Ron Weasley is the first to die, like
Jeez.
immediately. So
do it like that.
it was insane when I saw him die first. I was like, oh God, they're not going to kill the two like no-name ladies I'd never seen before.
Yeah, nope.
They're going to kill the other big name in this movie
Trick you.
first.
Final question before we jump out of this one. Colin, did this ruin your enthusiasm for faith-based cinema?
No, because this is fake. This is secular. This is BS.
It's not that faithy either.
Yeah, no, this is not part of the God's Not Dead cinematic universe by any means. All right. We did enough mean-spirited stuff. We're going to let some joy into our life.
Again with this Wii stuff. You guys were the mean-spirited ones.
We're in the form of the real four horsemen of the apocalypse: Sally Field, Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, the 80 For Brady ladies in the film 80 For Brady. It is directed by Kyle Marvin, who is he is some guy. He's never directed anything before. Oh, you a Booksmart fan, Dylan?
Yeah, of course.
This is the same writers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Haskins and Emily Halpern, which kind of sound like fake names. Like if I was a guy and I was like trying to get like something published under like two lady pseudonyms, I'd probably make up those names. Anyways, they wrote Booksmart and they wrote a bunch of other things. And this is a romp. This is a romp, folks. The four ladies I mentioned won some Super Bowl tickets to go see Tom Brady play at the Super Bowl. They all bonded with each other over a love for Tom Brady and their pats. And as they go to the Super Bowl, let me tell you, these hijinks, they ensue. This is like big time hijinks.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine it's like 2004 and we're like in the middle of an American Pie mania, and like someone is going on a road trip to lose their virginity level of hijinks. I wouldn't call it a road movie.
Nope.
Because they're just traveling from one place to another, and
they get there really quick.
Yeah. So, but they are in a different place.
Yes.
A lot of cameos, and a lot of just really absurd situations arising. This is a very fun time, and I think there is no one in the world who has as much fun at this movie than Dylan. So I'm going to let him do some talking. Tell the people about this movie, Dylan.
All right, listen up, guys. If you guys know me, I am a big fan of these sort of movies.
You know what? I came up with a word for him.
Yes.
Senior cinema.
Okay. Senior cinema films. Love it. That's my favorite. I love Book Club. That's the only other one I could think of on top of my
head. You don't
head.
think Mrs. Harris is senior cinema?
I guess you can call that, but it doesn't. The senior cinema, right?
Right.
In my head, they're always like groups of senior women. They have to come in groups. Mrs. Harris was cool. I like that. And that counts and all. But that's like one person doing everything.
Maybe I Do?
Maybe I Do. I guess that could kind of count.
Kinda.
It is washed with the Emma Roberts other guy storyline, but they're barely in it compared to the other four.
Yeah.
So I guess
they get buried under that.
A lot of gray hair. A lot of gray hair. That's all I'm saying.
But like in Book Club, they're just a group of women that just want to do shit. They're just like, we're stuck at the retirement home. Let's do some stuff. It's like, yes. Yeah. We're having a sexless marriage. We're 75. Yes. Go do something about that. That's so fucking sick. I want to know. I want to know.
Is it like you're getting insight into what awaits you in the future?
If I can make it that far, yes. But
okay.
I'm not a woman. It's different. My plot in my roles in these movies, which would probably be in life, is that I have ED. Thus my wife wants to do other stuff without me.
Right.
That's the plot of one of the women in a.
Well, all right. How about
you would be the Bob Balaban character in this film? Absolutely. I don't think he has ED. He's a legend, though. Goddamn icon.
Yes, I'd be that guy for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, which one of my writings is good?
I got an idea. If we make it to 75, 80, sex change.
Oh God.
That way we could fucking have this life.
I think it'd be dangerous.
Yeah. You won't come out of that anesthesia.
Yeah.
But I'll come out to go to the Super Bowl.
You gotta have some resilience, man.
But no, I really like this film. Had a fucking blast. I don't know, when it's not absurdist humor or anything like that. It's just humor for, I guess, seniors, and it's just weird humor that I wouldn't expect senior citizens to like. But then I don't know. There's a lot of just jokes that kind of they would get, but you or us being 50 and under also get, because it's if I was 70 and whatever fucking what's that dude from Wheel of Fortune that they said was a yeah, okay, I get that joke. That's funny. Everyone's running out to see him, whatever. Yeah, okay,
you don't need to actually have hot flashes to get that hot flashes or menopause or something like that is an issue.
Yeah, and then oh yeah, I got you a wheelchair. All that shit. It's yes, I like it. I like it a lot.
I was really hoping that we were going to see some audience members wearing that old people rule brand. You know what I mean? I would have lost my mind if that happened.
But and I didn't know this until the very end. Did not know that it was inspired by true events, and parts of me felt that, but I was like, "There's no way," because they're doing crazy fucking shit.
And you instinctively knew?
No, because it was are these older women running around the stadium that fast?
I think you got to really lean into this inspired part. Yeah. I think they showed a picture at the end of four ladies.
I'm
who
sure
had
they went to the Super Bowl, yeah, but they
said
just
over
wrote
80 for Brady.
Yeah,
and
then someone wrote a script over that.
Yeah, I think they just exist is all.
Yeah, so that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Because it's how can you make a plot where one of them has cancer, and then they all started watching the Patriots all of a sudden?
I'd buy that. That's grounded.
No. But in movie, where the movie's insane,
no,
kind of stuff is happening. Yeah. So it's okay, that stuff has to have happened, and they must have actually gone to the Super Bowl. In real life, it was probably so mundane,
Of course.
But in the movie, it's like, what the fuck were they doing?
I mean, to be fair,
about Kronk being a fucking love
amazing.
guy. It's like, God damn, like, is that real?
Smutty
There's no
romance
fucking
novels.
way. Yeah, it's just funny.
In the movie, they are day one Tom Brady Patriots fans because, like, like the way he came on, like he was like a 6th-round draft pick.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he just got put in the game because I think Bledsoe got injured. This is too nerdy. I'm sorry, but yeah. And then so they do show that in the movie. They show them like in the living room watching Tom's first game, and they fall in love with him because he's so handsome, even under the helmet where you can only kind of see the partial face.
Yeah.
And they just they stick with him through the end of his career essentially.
Yes, that's why I was so thrown off. It's like when they were showing that, I was like, so this is real, right? Like this part is bio.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything else around it, the Hot Wings challenge, like that's fake. Guy Fieri, that's just written for film.
Yeah, I think if
It's just funny to hear.
the tone of the comedy I appreciated a lot. I think you hit it with absurdist, and I was trying to think of what I'd like compare it to, and I think structurally it is pretty similar to like a Hangover or something, some like kind of raunchy comedy like that. But I really appreciated that it isn't, the jokes don't rely on like gross out humor or like, mean-spiritedness or anything like that. It's just sort of the silliness of the situation. And I was like, I don't know, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but refreshing. There you go. It was refreshing and out of the norm to see like a very on rails, very structured plot that is akin to one of those kind of road trip-esque comedy movies, but with just kind of fun, lighthearted humor as opposed to like the really hard-hitting, gross-out stuff. And yeah, it just seemed like such a crowd pleaser. I really appreciated the film. Made me put a smile on my face, ear to ear, the whole time.
Legitimate hijinks.
Oh, yes, hijinks-based comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there was no need for like Sally Field to be at the Hot Wings thing and throwing up or something. They didn't have to like show her like fart noises.
Yeah.
Even when she was talking to Guy Fieri, like none of that, like in the porta potty, there's nothing like him like shitting noises or anything like that. It's like,
that there was that gag though that he was waiting for somebody in the porta potty.
he's like, you got
Right.
my strap on. Oh, I thought you're someone else. This is a fucking great joke.
Really good.
And it's like, dude,
Really
like what
good.
the fuck? That's funny.
There are a lot of jokes in here that are way better than they need to be. There's a lot of really like they got my man Jimmy O Yang in it. They got Ron Funches.
Ron Funches,
They got the goddamn legend Patton Oswalt. They got like real good funny people in it. It's tightly written, like, there's not really a lot of downtime. I think Brent, I think you counted in the credits there was like 27 syncs, like 27.
Yeah.
That sounds insane, right? That's like something you would, if it was like the first Suicide Squad movie. Remember that movie got a lot of shit for just being in, I think my joke was like it was the co-worker you hate gets the aux cable and just plays like Eminem and 21 Pilots and shit the whole time. It was like miserable. But this was all upbeat, like 70s funk and soul songs or like songs that are in that style. So it's just this perpetual crowd pleasing. Everyone can enjoy this kind of soundtrack. Samand were in this. This is the second Samand appearance since Nope. Who would have thought? It was. It's just all around crowd pleaser. Good, fun, lighthearted film.
It's like high energy, but not like high energy that it's stressful.
Yeah,
It's like good energy,
right.
positive energy.
Yes, not manic, not stressful, not uptight. Just a nice time.
Yeah. And it has that Golden Girls thing where they each have like their own personality. And unlike the M. Night stuff, it's like written like they each have their own personality.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And I like the cameos. They're all pretty funny.
And they, are able, I think part of a successful cameo is kind of being able to take the piss out of yourself,
Yeah.
and like, if Guy Fieri was like, Brent, you mentioned The Rock, if he was like a little too protective of his own IP and brand, it would have kind of been like, come on.
The Rock would have been like, okay, I will do this movie, but you have to have me be the benefactor to these women being able to get in the game.
Right.
I want to control their ability to get in, and I want to be perceived as magnanimous.
Like Vin Diesel, I think, has one of those things too, where like
Let me
he's
punch
always
one of
got to
those
be
broads.
the strongest or whatever. It's like, no, I'm fucking Guy Fieri. You can call me a human flaming Cheeto. I don't care. Like, let's make a good movie here. Let's have fun.
That was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good jokes.
He is part of the funniest part of the movie, which is when there's that eyes wide shut gummies part.
Right.
And she sees everyone as Guy Fieri.
There's an eyes wide shut reference. Like, this doesn't talk down to its viewership, which I like a lot. I mean, I guess maybe that's what's cool about this emerging genre, or at least a genre that we're just starting to pay attention to. It's probably been banging pretty hard since like Joy Luck Club, at least. It's a through line of whatever films I've seen like this is that they don't like treat old people like they're, can't handle a strap-on joke or can't handle an eyes wide shut reference. Like, that's the thing. If you are a senior citizen right now, like, you were in your 20s in the 80s. You've seen some shit. You are, we don't need to like coddle you or pretend that it's like, we just have to play It's a Wonderful Life for you in perpetuity. We can kind of actually address like your life experiences and stuff in an honest way. And I felt like this movie is an entry into that genre. Mm-hmm. Senior cinema. It's taken over. Butts in seats too.
Fucking delightful.
Yeah.
Dylan, did you have a favorite part?
That's a good question.
Like, or a standout part, that comes to mind quicker than others?
Well, the one part that comes to mind quickly to me is the one where Patton Oswalt's like, dark magic or whatever. Sorcery.
Who was it? Who was on a run? It was
forget the one of them. It's not
I can't remember
Field and it's not Fonda.
Lily Tomlin then.
Lily Tomlin.
Yeah, Lily Tomlin is just like smoking at the
she's a savant at gambling.
She's just killing it at the poker table, and Patton Oswalt's, you're a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Patton's a goddamn legend.
Yeah, that and like the whole breaking her out of the retirement home.
Yeah, that's classic model hijinks.
That was like 80s hijinks, yeah.
And like them breaking into the control room.
The offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and they're like,
position.
"Do cover one instead." And then she's like talking to Tom Brady
through his helmet.
Yeah, he's just listening.
It's so dramatic the way they shot it too, like down from like
and I get it, like it's emotional, but it's like she's telling this sad story while Tom Brady's just looking up at her with like the helmet, and he's like, "Let's fucking go."
Oh, bro.
But the thing is, that was the cool part. Is like his line was so predictable. You knew he was gonna scream, "Let's fucking go!" But when it finally hit, I was shaking the chair in front of me, going, "Yeah, let's fucking go!"
I need a 10-hour loop of Tom Brady yelling, "Let's fucking go!"
Oh, so fun.
Yeah, no, I love this film. I love these kind of movies. Again, it's making me excited for Book Club 2. I said it the other week.
Yeah,
but I am excited. I love these movies.
All right, so we know where we stand on here, but it's 80 for Brady. Is this a touchdown? Or are we calling pass interference on this? Listen, it is, you know what fucking time it is. Hut hike. This is a touchdown. This is a fun movie. I'm not saying you need to go see it in the theater, like if it's streaming or something. Like it is a fun time. It is not a dumbed down comedy. It is just a good lighthearted romp. I think if you have room in your cold, dead, embittered soul for that kind of movie, even if you maybe think you don't, if you think you are too cold and too cool, let me tell you, put on 80 for Brady and tell me you don't get sucked in. I'm betting you do. And that is why this is a slam down, touchdown sports ball hike.
Yeah, the touchdown. They did a great job. And I was thinking along the same lines of what you were saying, where it's like, yeah, you should watch this if it's streaming. I mean, if you want to go to the theater, of course, it's a good one to spend your $20 on or whatever. But any mood that you might be in is an appropriate mood to watch this movie. Because if you're in a good mood, you watch it and it's fun. If you're in a bad mood, you might get happier. If you're sad, it's uplifting. It's a good movie. It's a good time.
This is a fourth quarter 2-minute drill tie ball game. Winning touchdown drive for the ages. I would respectfully disagree with my friend Colin and say that if you're listening to this and these Regal movies, they tend to stick around for a while, especially this one, which was heavily promoted. So you probably got about 3 months from the time you're hearing this assuming you hear it within the first week, to round up at least, I'd say, 2, maybe ideal is 3 other friends and roll to the theater together and just strap in for hijinks. I am so glad that I had these 3 people to see this movie with. I always enjoy going to see movies with my friends, but this one in particular was it was just a delight all the way through, start to finish. No irony, not being cute. It was a fun time, and I am all about senior cinema at this point.
If you do have a hijinks allergy, I would recommend staying away because it is pretty much unrelenting.
Yes. Touchdown with a touchdown dance.
Oh, the icky shuffle.
Yes, I'm gonna say it right now. Watch it multiple times in theaters. Go with some friends. Go alone. Go with your family.
Wear jerseys.
Just watch it. And have fun.
We did all wear football jerseys when we went to see this as a bit. And I feel like if we don't say that now, then the whole bit was for naught. I don't know why we didn't take a picture of us all wearing football jerseys.
You got me. So.
I know. I'm too shy. I'm camera shy.
Oh, you know what? I forgot my other bit.
What was your other bit?
My bit for Knock at the Cabin was eating 2 burritos. I'm feeling it, bro. I'm so fucking dead. I'm so fucking dying.
Do you want to talk about your burrito consumption?
That could be it. It's just I ate 2 burritos.
Listen, I don't know who's listening to this wherever. This is not Taco Bell burritos. This is not a 99-cent special.
Not even close.
This is San Diego burritos. We don't fuck around.
Taco shop burritos.
You have never in your life.
Are you serious?
Like I'm dying, bro.
Yeah, you have never needed more than 1 burrito like in a day.
More like knock at the colon. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Like, Jesus.
Hey.
But Dylan gets some carb style.
Oh yeah, this guy's a fucking animal.
Yeah, pure carbs.
God, I cannot listen. This is you're on
There's
blast.
protein. There's
you're on
beans.
blast.
There's
You're on
beans in
blast. You know how much it hurts me? They have a veggie burrito that's good to go at
Yes.
at the taco shop that he went to, and it just beans, guac, the lettuce,
pico.
There we go.
Rice.
It's too wet in the theater.
This
I can't see
Just
shit.
like me watching 80 from Brady.
It's too fucking wet.
This motherfucker gets beans, rice, potatoes, which is French fries, and guacamole. So like
Actually, in this one, no guac, so I was afraid of spilling it.
Oh my God.
So it was just starch.
bone dry
They were
starch
so hard.
wrapped in a white flour tortilla, and like pounds 1 and then right into
There's
another.
the hardest burrito of all time. That's fucked.
I know, it's insane. I have to order it for him like often, and I feel bad for myself.
Often?
Often enough.
You asked me.
Often enough to memorize your friggin' order.
Hey, you asked me. I don't ask
Yeah,
you
I
to
say,
give me burritos.
no, this is homie shit. It happens. I would. You often order burritos for me. It's a 2-way street here.
Fine.
But I do know your goddamn order.
Well, because that's all I can get at these taco shops.
No, you get the veggie burrito, which has the pico and the
Yeah, but
lettuce
it's too
in it.
messy. It gets wet and it gets all over my shirt.
Moviemasters760@gmail.com. Send us your burrito order.
Yes.
We had I don't know why
Then
we
you sneak in through your hoodie.
2 of
Yeah,
them.
if anybody else in the entire world sneaks burritos into movies, please let us know.
2 burritos.
Yeah, if you bring in 2,
It's like
Get help.
4,500 calories.
it's so crazy.
Hey, man, I've been on one.
Speaking of dying, we watched Living.
Oh, true.
This is a BBC production that for some reason was in our theater. And hey, what do we tell you at the top of the hour here, folks? We watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local cinema. This is, according to the credits, a adaptation of Kurosawa's Ikiru. Which,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Really?
This is not a bit. It is legitimately one of my favorite movies, up there with Raising Arizona, The Game, and Rogue One.
Yeah, so I don't know why I feel like our lines got crossed or something. Like we didn't intentionally not see this movie with you, but now I feel mad that we didn't.
Oh my God! But you know what? I might have been bummed because Ikiru is legit.
This is
one of my
a
favorites.
good movie.
Yeah,
It stars,
I'll listen to you talk about it.
It stars Bill Nye, and it's not Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's Nighy. I looked up how to fucking pronounce it on the goddamn computer. It's Bill Nye. Then he was in Love Actually. He's in like the Shaun of the Dead movie. He's in a bunch of stuff. Very British actor. Aggressively British actor. This is an aggressively British movie. The guy who wrote the script for Ikiru wanted this Bill Nye guy to be in the movie. They met in a cab. This is a trivia that I peeled off of IMDb. And he's like, dude, will you please do this movie? I've been wanting a English Anglified version of this movie since like the 50s. Will you please do it? And he's yeah.
Was that, I mean, like straight up, like this is an ironic, like was that his dying wish? Because that motherfucker's very old.
I don't know. But either way, it worked out because they made this movie, and it's takes place post World War II. It's the 50s. It's Britain, and this guy he realizes he has he's very much embedded in this bureaucracy over there, like tax stuff or something, office work,
public works,
and
forms and stamps.
Right. And he finds that he has a terminal disease. He's got a small amount of time to live. And he just kind of says, like, I'm going to start living. And not really in a totally, like, I don't know, abrupt or crazy way. He doesn't start doing all this nutty stuff. He's just realizes that he doesn't know how to live, which I think is even more powerful than like saying, I'm going to go to Vegas and get a bunch of hookers and do a bunch of drugs or whatever the equivalent of that would be in the 50s Britain. But, he's learning how little he knows about kind of experiencing life and just spending some time in pubs, going to some fancy restaurants, talking to some people that are outside of his social circle and just kind of pivoting, I guess you could say, at the last leg of his days. And it's a very well done movie. It's a very British movie, if I didn't mention that yet. I think most of what I know about British culture is through like music and stuff. And all I could think of was like Pink Floyd, how their whole thing is like, have you ever thought that conformity is like bad, man? Like I kind of feel their stuff is a little stilted in terms of like brick in the wall and all that kind of stuff. But I was watching this, I was like, oh, this is what they were so, this is very much so that. And the movie doesn't bang you over the head with it, but there's like air raids going off still. And they spend a lot of time showing like how orderly, like the trains are run, the businesses are run, everyone's dressed, like order, bureaucracy, proper, again, very British way of doing things. And you're like, oh, yeah, that was like, they were getting fucking bombed. Like they had bombs dropped on them by Nazis. Like, yeah, I think when that was over, you could maybe forgive a lot of that stuff that old Roger Waters was, in such a tizzy over. But I think it, unlike, The Wall or whatever, even like punk music or take your pick of like, British psychedelic hippie stuff, questioning a lot of that order and stuff. I think that this movie did a more sympathetic portrayal of that kind of person and that kind of mentality, instead of showing them as brutes or, I don't know, uncaring, unfeeling, unthinking. It was like, they're trying so hard to put structure into their life and like just act in some kind of proper way with that shadow of war looming over them. I think it's much more understandable how they did that. So I appreciated that sort of insight into the culture like that.
Yeah, that it's a stereotype for a reason. I don't even know if it's a stereotype. It's just British people, English specifically, are very buttoned up,
Right.
And very like calm. And a lot of it is about like how people perceive you.
Manners.
Yeah, very much. Like to the point that this man is having trouble telling his son that he has an illness because he knows that his son and his son's wife are kind of on their own thing. So he doesn't know how to like approach the subject. And I really like how you see all of that, the things that show you how orderly everything is in his business life with the trains. And he has like a pinstripe suit. They show you bars on like windows and things like that. And they show you like the building that they're in and it's so straight.
The aspect ratio of 3:4 really helped, put in perspective the claustrophobia of the office spaces, trains, and even one would say the social order of Britain at the time. I really felt that aspect ratio informed all these themes that you're bringing up, Justine. I just learned about aspect ratios.
That reminded me of something from the Knock in the Cabin with the the lens. Yeah, it's like
the zoom in on Batista.
Like dizzying.
Funny you mentioned that because that Knock the Cabin is filmed on 35mm with lenses from the 90s, and this is the second movie he shot in Panavision. So there you go.
What do they call that when like you're on the dolly and you move the camera back, but then you zoom in with the camera, so the camera's physically moving back, but the zoom is going in.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
a cool shot.
It's a shot. It's a shot that looks like it's going. So it's a very claustrophobic world they're in. Go on.
But no, it's not like claustrophobic. It's just very orderly. And then you see parts of it when he's kind of getting outside of that. Like he gets a new hat. Well, now he's in a park. It's a juxtaposition of him being in all this concrete and stuff. And then he's in a park just enjoying nature for once. And it is a beautifully shot movie. It really is.
Beautifully dressed.
Yeah. Everything is so good looking and feels like it has like a purpose, and the characters are neat.
Right.
They're not super flashy or anything, and they come and go. It's really interestingly done. And it's very, or you could see how it could be exactly the same story with a Japanese background or with an English background because of that manners and politeness and the focus
social
on
standing.
Yeah.
Your place within the social hierarchies.
And the importance of like being in a job that has a suit,
Right.
I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
And I like movies where there's just like a person that's living and you get to see how they're doing it. And there is a part where he's singing in a pub, and I love old men singing well.
Okay.
It just sounds so different than like anybody else, the way they're singing it. And he kind of can't finish the song. And it's one of the greatest scenes I've seen in such a long time. Like you might get a lump in your throat feeling sad.
It never occurred to me that the Japanese movie would so easily transpose to English. But you're right. There is the class structure and so many other aspects, especially post World War II. You said,
yeah, 1950s.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
we have to check this out.
It's a really nice film, and I think I like that they don't completely shit on that hierarchy or structure.
Right. It just is.
At the end, he does put together like this. He makes it like his last push to get this park made, to push some papers through and like get the ball rolling, and really takes responsibility. So it sort of shows that it's I guess a kind of a corny sentiment, but it's like even in these very structured kind of stifling environments, you can still break through and make a difference and impact the world around you if you try. So it's almost like even if you have kind of an insignificant job, it's not like just blow your job off and live a kind of hedonistic way, or start painting. It's like no, just maybe do your job a little bit better, and like see how that impacts things around you. So yeah, it had a very endearing message to me. Dylan?
I'm glad to see Philip live his life. Philip is his name in Shaun of the Dead. That was Sean's mom's boyfriend, husband, stepdad. I forget exactly, but I remember his name was Philip.
What was the lady secretary's nickname for him in the movie?
Mr. Zombie.
And do you think that might tie in?
Yes. I 100% believe that. That's the
tie-in.
Yeah, the Easter egg.
For real, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, he's like zombie. Get it? Because he turns into a zombie. He turned into a zombie in Shaun of the Dead, another great British film.
Spoilers. Sorry,
it happens mid-movie.
Spoilers.
Whatever.
20 years later.
Yeah. No, I like the film. I like these type of movies, like I really liked A Man Called Otto, and I didn't think that movie would stick with me as much as it did. Yeah. But like, I really liked living.
Cinema?
Is this senior cinema? It's all senior cinema.
Yeah, see, this is a senior cinema film.
I fucking love senior cinema.
I told you, it just makes you want to fucking pursue life. Okay, I just want to fucking
you're laughing. I saw Akira early in my life. It changed a lot of things.
Akira?
So I understand what he's saying.
Oh,
Akira.
sorry.
What this was based on. Oh, Akira? Yeah, so like I grew this like fucking giant arm and I had a motorcycle.
Or a Fist of the North Star guy myself, but I get it.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah, just I just had a red leather suit for a while, but I grew out of it.
Yeah.
No, when I saw Guyver 1, man, I swear to God.
No, but yeah, like I'm a sucker for these kind of films. I think that's why I like love the senior cinema movies.
Right.
Because it's just like, they're old and they have like a lust for life. It's like, I fucking want that. I'm not even that old yet. Like, I'm like, not even 30 and I'm all like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
You can have it. Anytime you can have it.
I know.
The earlier
I never pursue.
Public,
Just
all right,
trap myself.
Public service announcement. The earlier in life that you can engage senior cinema, the better your life will be. Guarantee it.
You ain't wrong.
And I only wished the actual senior citizens that I talked to at my job
Go on.
would watch these fucking movies and like get a life.
Oh yeah. And again,
See, and I'm like the guy that gets the girl in the end of this movie, where I'm like just trapped in it, and I'm smiling through it. Though I want to like, in reality, I want to be fucking what's his name, Mr. Williams, Mr. Zombie. I want to be like around. I want to do other stuff on the days I should be at work. Anyway, I love this film. Shot well acted. The beginning threw me off because I was like, is this an actual old film? Because they show you like what feels like old footage of...
Yes, digitally retouched newsreels.
Yes.
And period-appropriate fonts. Mm-hmm. All my font heads out there. Get ready, take notes.
Yeah, it was like hand-drawn fonts.
is this still at Regal?
I hope.
Should be. It was like very brief. The only reason we saw it is because it was Wednesday, and we're like, well, there's no new movies. This movie exists. It came out this year.
Yeah.
I think it technically came out last year.
Yeah,
we got it
in
for the
the
first.
U.S.
Yeah, I think it was like it said it came out like January 6th.
Yeah.
It is now February, almost 6th. So like, I don't think it's been out all this time, or we would have seen
hasn't.
it
We would have
earlier.
caught it. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's some limited run thing, but delightful watch, highly recommended.
All right.
Living. Are we? God, I can't think of anything decent here. Are we?
You chasing life, or are you working?
I'm gonna say we're gonna chase life. LIVING, living, baby.
I'm gonna live, and I'm gonna eat fancy food and pastries.
Yes.
Good call. He does that. I'm gonna live, and I'm gonna make sure this park with a swing and a box that you turn gets made.
Oh yeah.
The swing is also in Akiru as well.
Well, there's
Actually, the cover of the
There's like it's like a depressing looking playground because it's in Britain. We're just like, they're just like, what the hell is that? I'm like, this is a British amusement. It's just a box. You just stand on the box.
Again,
you step off the box and you
clocks.
get on it.
but in the movie when they're actually showing it happen, like a kid's like turning it like a what's it called, like a
Merry-go-round.
yeah, like a merry-go-round, but they're not sitting in it. He's like pushing it like he's working.
There's a box in the middle. You can't like
I know,
go in
but
between
and it looks
the pizza
heavy
slices.
with the way he's pushing it. Like he's using all his weight. It's like
Listen, I'm not going to begrudge this guy's life work, but it looked like a pretty shitty park.
yeah, and the swing is the only cool part. And you know what? I fucking hate this I don't hate this movies. You tell me this happens in the Japanese movies. Okay. There's two scenes, one of which he goes out of the strip club or whatever he's in. He leaves to throw up. And like you don't see the throw up part, but the guy walks out to look for him, and he's like looking in complete darkness. And my head was like, "Oh fuck, is he gonna like run?" In my head, he's gonna start sprinting towards the camera, and I'm gonna get fucking scared. And he does it. He just kind of walks in through the dark all slow, and he's all like wiping his face with his napkin. And that was scare number one for me.
Classic model and true cinema trope: the white cloth with a little blood clot in it,
yes.
A little cough up of blood.
Yes,
come on, cliche for a reason. It communicates ideas to people.
And number two scare for me was he's on the swing, and like they show a little like path through, like, or a little bridge that it's like you're under the bridge, and like you don't see anyone yet. It's like dark, but it's like kind of zooming in as he's still swinging, and all of a sudden you see the cop like kind of walks up, and like I thought it was gonna be death and he dies right there, and they show you the literal
The
incarnation of the Reaper. Yeah,
like in Puss in Boots from DreamWorks Cinema.
Yes, I was afraid that was going to happen the entire time. I was like, dude, what the fuck is this movie? They're showing me like shit I didn't want to. Like, I didn't want to see death, like an actual depiction of death, come in this film. It's scary.
Yeah, so does the Grim Reaper show up in Ikiru or what?
Or was it a cop?
Yeah, no jump scares.
There's no jump scares.
It's a Kurosawa movie, dude.
I'm so PTSD with all these fucking like horror films that do that all the time. Like it's in the dark and all of a sudden they run.
I can assure you'll be fine watching Ikiru. Yeah.
Okay, no. I'm just saying because in Living,
the only scary thing is a life not lived.
See, yeah, but in Living there's like a darkness, and then all of a sudden he just kind of walks up. In my mind, he sprints the fucking to the camera and he scares like says boo or something.
Brent, you got news for us?
Yeah, we're going to start with some personal news. I just had an entire genre and potentially 2 or more genres ruined for me because if you recall when we did our Glass Onion coverage, I didn't really like it. So I decided to find out if I liked Knives Out. I thought I liked it, so I went back and I rewatched it. And once you rewatch a whodunit, you know who did it, you start looking around for other details. And on this rewatch, which is my first ever rewatch of the movie, I noticed that the villain had a different phone than everybody, and I was like, let me. I just kept like looking at everybody's phones. I was like, everybody's got an iPhone except the bad guy. I'm like, wait, maybe Apple like didn't let him have an iPhone because they don't want it to be associated with bad people. And then so I hopped on the internet, I looked it up, and sure enough, Rian Johnson went on record a couple years ago when this movie was out and said that, yeah, Apple's more than happy to pay for product placement. They do it all the time. But their one stipulation is that, no murderers, no thieves, no bad people whatsoever can have an iPhone. So now if you're watching a modern whodunit, all you got to do is look at the phones.
And if they don't have an iPhone, then he's a bad guy.
Yeah. And you notice that a couple of the characters don't have iPhones and everybody else does.
Don't trust them.
Yeah. I am the villain.
It's true.
So now kind of like, I feel like I got to deprogram myself from looking at phones in movies now that I have this knowledge. And I hope I didn't ruin that for other people. But yeah, if you go back and rewatch Knives Out, you can confirm this. I did it for myself, and it was a bummer.
Spoilers.
Okay. Now then, we're going to hop on to the big news, which is, of course, DC Studios announcing what Chapter 1 is actually going to be. If you will recall, Peter Safran and James Gunn have been appointed co-heads of the entire operation. And they recently did a press conference where they went into what to expect in what they're calling Chapter 1. So to clear out pre-existing commitments, you're, of course, going to get The Flash and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Those are going to happen. They have nothing to do with the DCU that's going to start after these.
I don't want to fuck your flow up, but what's up with Blue Beetle? Is that movie coming out this year?
Dude, I could not find a goddamn thing for you. Because I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah.
And I could not find a single thing.
I watched some like recaps of this as well, and nary a Blue Beetle mention. Yet there's a Blue Beetle poster at our local theater.
The only place, apparently.
It's bizarre. I wonder if it's a prank. I'm gonna check out the pixelation on it. Like see if it's tight or if it's like some weird bootleg thing. I have no idea. So yeah, speaking of The Flash, it's still getting a lot of hype and a lot of like protectiveness from the studio. And so I looked into that a little bit. I'm like, what's going on with it? So I looked at who the director is. Andrew Muschietti. He directed It and It Chapter 2. So, I mean, he's competent. He can make a big movie. Maybe the hype is real. We'll see. James Gunn himself said that this is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made.
He would say that.
Well, Flashpoint in the comics was like a reset of sort of... It led to the New 52, if I'm not crazy. So, like, my understanding of this movie, whatever the buzz is around it, which I put zero faith in, is that this is what's going to lead into the Chapter 2 or Chapter 1 in the sense of, like...
So that they need it to happen.
Yeah, this is the Control Z for, Justice League and Suicide Squad and all that sort of thing. Or Suicide Squad 1. It gets complicated. Brent, go on.
Okay. So, Chapter 1 is being dubbed Gods and Monsters. It's going to amount to about 2 films and 2 streaming series per year over the next 5 years, let's say. And here's what you can expect on TV. First, we've got Creature Commandos. It's going to be animated, written by James Gunn, in 7 episodes. It's going to feature Frankenstein's monster and Weasel from the Suicide Squad. How do we feel about that?
Weasel's cute.
That's great. I love James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Love Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm pro James Gunn in this context. I like his head and them actually acknowledging animation as tying into the movies is a wild one. Because even for as much as people tout Marvel as being like, the gold standard in, what do they call it? Integration or, connectivity,
synergy,
world building, yada, yada. Like those Netflix shows some of which in the early seasons were like as good of superhero media as exists ever, those might as well not exist in the cinematic universe. I think they really dropped the ball there. There's there was moments of it happening, like stuff that would happen in the movies would happen on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but never the other way around. And so for them to really commit themselves not only to like TV stuff and video game stuff tying in with movie stuff is a huge promise, but to go as far as animation is crazy because, DC animation stuff is consistently pretty great, since Batman the Animated Series and on. So now if they're doing it and James Gunn is at the helm, I think it'll be good in its own right, given his track record recently. And if it's going to tie in with the movies, that's even more impressive for a lot of reasons.
I don't trust him.
You don't trust him?
No. What is this? What is this going to be streaming on?
It's DC, so it's an HBO property.
Yeah, exactly.
For now, anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
Oh, Justine. Yeah, you're right.
You just don't have faith in it coming out.
Mm-mm.
All right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not. This is a flip a coin. Yeah. But if it comes out, if it sees the light of day, if they're doing what they say they're going to do, it's going to be impressive.
Optimistic Dylan, hit me with some positivity. This is going to happen, isn't it?
Dude, I fucking hope so, man.
There you go.
You know, if what's the Marvel show? Devil Dinosaur.
There's a Devil Dinosaur.
But what's the girl? There's a girl, Moon Girl.
Oh yeah, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Moon Girl and Dino, Devil Dino.
Yeah.
There's an animation of that. I'm sure they're gonna just fucking. That's coming out, I think.
Okay.
And if they're gonna try and rival,
go head to head.
all these Marvel movies stuff that's coming out, I'm sure
counter programming.
They'll put something out that's gonna be related to the films. I don't know if that cartoon will relate to any of the MCU, but if the DC's like, hey, this is all one world, then yes.
Because we've watched a lot of just like amputated limbs of DC animation stuff. Well, they'll just do a fun Constantine animated movie or Dark Justice League animated movie, and they're fine watches and everything, but it doesn't necessarily there's no consequences. One movie doesn't tie into the next movie, doesn't tie into the cartoon series or anything like that. So as fun as they may be in their own right, it lacks that kind of world building quality that the comic books would have had.
Still in TV, we've got Waller featuring Viola Davis. It will replace Peacemaker while James Gunn focuses on writing a Superman feature. At the helm, you'll have Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver from Doom Patrol.
I mean,
Watchmen wasn't good. Doom Patrol's fine.
No. Doom Patrol got canceled?
Doom Patrol for sure.
I did. I'd be lying if I said that I was able to keep up my Doom Patrol enthusiasm as the show went on, but that was really fun one at first. I would think that would fit in very well with James Gunn's, especially since he's kind of milking Grant Morrison for a bunch of stuff. I think the Doom Patrol would slip in fine, but
I like Doom Patrol though. Read it.
You're everything too, right?
Yeah. Even the new ones, like the newest ones, they're good. They're funny. Yeah.
I'll Doom Patrol all the time.
Yep. Really disappointed that they're not doing Peacemaker.
Yeah, Peacemaker is one of my favorite. Talk about
that's incredible.
Yeah. Comic book media that's as good as anything that's ever been done. I felt like there was I don't know. I was deeply and profoundly affected by the Peacemaker series. I really, really, really liked that one. Yeah. And so that was a spinoff of Gunn's Suicide Squad. So I don't know if how much he needs to be at the helm to make those things happen. But again, so far this is a very complicated, muddied franchise that has given us nothing but good so far. So let's not doubt it, I guess. I'll watch Amanda Waller. Suicide Squad is a really cool concept. The original comics were cool. I'm down. I'll watch it. Let's go.
Deep cut that I suspect is in Colin's wheelhouse. Booster Gold, a comedy about a superhero's imposter syndrome. Are you familiar?
Yeah. So Booster Gold is from the future, right? Mm-hmm. And he just has like future tech.
Yeah, but he's like an actor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he time traveled back to our time and do stuff? Yeah. So he's not really like, imbued with heroics or anything. He just kind of has the technology for it. So it's a perfect setup for a Deadpool kind of like adjacent tone, which again is pretty Suicide Squad.
Yes.
So yeah, it could be very cool if they do it.
Yeah. Good point. Paradise Lost is going to be a Game of Thrones styled story that happens on Wonder Woman's planet before she was even born.
Oh.
Dude, I love Justine's takes on this. Okay, now for context, any listener that is unfamiliar, Justine had the DC app.
Yeah.
She not just hating. Yeah, it's an educated hate.
Yeah, I don't think Wonder Woman lore is that cool.
I don't either.
I mean, it's Amazon's, it's Sword and Sandal. That's fine, I guess. But, like, we had a lot of seasons of Xena sitting around that no one's really diving into right now. I was a fan growing up, so, fine. If this satisfies that market, that'll be all right. But, yeah, I don't have, as a comic book reader, I don't have a lot of connection to Themyscira the way I feel like they maybe should. And, by the way, look into your history here. This is... that stuff is all fake news anyways. The whole Wonder Woman situation is just a weird horny guy that wants to get tied up. Like, I mean, I'm down for, calling it female empowerment in post and everything. But like, yeah, I'm not invested enough in the lore in and of itself.
Yeah. And I feel like if they're trying to make this integrated DCU thing, what in the world does Themyscira before Wonder Woman have to do with it?
I have no clue. Dylan, you have any idea what could be happening before Wonder Woman was born on this planet?
Probably getting that box. The little box.
The mother box?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They're protecting the mother box.
If they got any kind of success, they're holding all that fourth world shit in a like that's their Infinity War, really.
Well, maybe that's what the connection is. They have it, and people go for it, and then they have to fight, and they successfully win every time. Because what happens is that Steppenwolf shows up, and what's it called? That one song starts playing, and then he gets the box, and they lose. So you watch the show, and they're winning, and then they lose. They lose in the end.
I bet they don't even mention a mother. They don't use the word mother or box in a same on a 5-minute span of time. They're distancing themselves very far from that mythology, I think.
All right, Peter Safran and James Gunn, you have one shot left to impress Justine with your television offerings in Chapter 1. Lanterns focuses on Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan from the Green Lantern franchise. It will be based thematically on the True Detective aesthetic.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's a weird take. Colin's a big, not Jon Stewart though.
I was the '90s run with Hal Jordan. I was big into, and I always took Green Lantern to be a little more Star Trek than True Detective. I mean, there's space cops and everything. But it's like they deal with intergalactic stuff, not really. Well, True Detective was like there's cults or something,
kind of supernaturally
arranging.
And the first season anyway. Yeah, then second season was kind of like organized crime.
Okay, well,
focused.
Space cops, make them be space cops. Hey, well, what's this crazy planet? Oh, everyone's triangle shaped here. Well, we need to give you a protector so that you can protect from all the round-shaped people. Oh no, this is a geopolitical issue that's a little over my head. I'm Hal Jordan. I'm a pilot. I'm a little too full of myself. I think I know all the answers, but now that I'm spending more time in space, I'm learning that maybe things are a little more complicated than I thought. Not everything can be solved with a green ring.
Wait, did you say Hal or John?
I said John.
Bofa. So they're teaming up.
And Hal. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and they're teaming up, buddy cop stuff.
Yeah, they could be really cool. Like, they're one of the cool things about Lanterns is like they're all a bunch of aliens.
Right.
So I really like that when there's like a bunch of aliens and they all have like their own cultures and stuff. And then I'm wondering if they'll get into the other colored lanterns. It kind of gets a little wild.
Again, I dip out after the 90s. I've read some of those, like the Black Lantern series,
Red Lantern, Yellow Lantern. There's a lantern.
Yeah, and that to me was always just kind of tacked on. And there was this one series, I think it was called like something about Zero. But that was like before Flashpoint, that was the reset that Hal Jordan took the lantern shit to its logical extreme and was like, I could just do anything. I'm going to reset the whole universe and rebuild it. And like when I was a little bit more of a nerdy superhero comic guy, anytime anyone tried to tell me that, who would win, this guy or this guy, I'd be like, bro, Hal Jordan remade the universe. There's no magnet powers against that. There's no Spectre, maybe, I guess, can fold reality into itself or whatever. But yeah, you can't fly, punch, laser vision your way out of remaking the entire universe. Yeah. I think it was called Universe Zero, but that also might be a weird prog band. I forget. Countdown to Zero. They had this stupid gimmick where like the first issue was issue 4, and the second issue was 3, and the next issue was 2, and then when it got to 0, it was just a big white cover. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's
not stupid.
Well,
Colin.
We were impressed with embossed covers. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't take much to get us going, but
0 Hour.
0 Hour.
That's right. I do remember that. That was cool.
So, I mean, weirdly, again, I have a bit of nostalgia for that event, but like, I guess comic nerds really don't like that because it was just kind of tacked on and arbitrary or something. I don't know. I've read a lot of critiques about the 0 Hour run, and I guess I'm not that invested in it to defend it or whatever. But anyways, after that, I think Hal Jordan takes out, like, I think he becomes the Spectre, and then the little fucker. Who's the little fucker that takes over after Hal Jordan?
Robin.
Yeah.
Redheaded one.
No, not Guy Gardner. The other little fucker. This is all making Kyle Rayner. Bro, they gave that guy the most 90s makeover you'd ever imagine. And it was like a real Green Lantern reader. I was like out. Once that little punk ass kid came in, I was like, I'm done. This is also the post Death of Superman stuff, so they were bringing in all these creeps. Anyways, look, Suicide Squad was good. James Gunn has proven he can do some good stuff. I'm looking forward to this. Everything I'm hearing sounds fine if it actually happens. So, I'm agnostic, but optimistic. Optimistically agnostic. Optimnostic. Right.
Well, here's what we'll transition over to what to expect from films in Chapter 1. There are, of course, 5 of them. First up, Superman Legacy, the true beginning of the DCU, according to Gunn. In this, you'll see a younger Superman struggling with his heritage and human upbringing. They actually have a release date on this, in spite of the script not being written yet. July 11th, 2025.
I don't know. Isn't it based on, like, All-Star Superman? I heard it was based heavily on Morrison's run. If that's the case, that's fine.
I'm stoked on it, man. We don't have enough Superman movies.
Bro, there should be a Superman movie every year, maybe 2 years. I'll give you 2 years.
I say that about everything.
I say that about everything because I'm right.
You're always like, there needs to be a Boba Fett movie every year.
I don't know about that, but a Batman and a Superman movie, a Batman movie especially, underline that one like 3 times, but a Superman movie every couple years. Yeah, why not?
Meanwhile, nobody can give me a Gru movie with Danny McBride. I'm so sad.
You're not wrong. That is great casting.
Gru, the Wanderer from
Sergio,
Marvel.
Oh, sorry.
Sergio Aragonés.
I was thinking Groot.
The dude that would
why would Danny McBride be doing Groot?
No, the guy.
And then the Minions guy.
Oh, Gru.
Yeah.
Gru.
Yeah, but that's GRU.
Yeah.
Gru the Wanderer is GROO.
Yeah.
Groot is GROOT.
Yeah. So I thought he was talking about Groot.
Oh,
maybe this is why they won't make your movie.
Sick.
Well, I know, yeah.
Illumination
I
DC.
think I've just figured out why this movie has never been made.
Everyone would be lost.
My path to Marvel was actually through Gru because I used to read Mad Magazine all the time. And Sergio would always like draw and doodle in the margins. And I love those doodles so much. I'm like, what else does this guy do? And I saw they did Gru the Wanderer, bought that. That got me into comic books.
Yeah, bro. So, I was a comic book guy, a D&D guy, and a Mad Magazine guy. So you better motherfucking believe I was a Gru guy. That was like giving me everything I wanted in one place. Don't let the Gru legacy die, and give Sergio Aragonés a lot of money, please.
Absolutely. Up next, the Authority. You got morally gray characters who will save the world by any means necessary. The DNA here is, of course, from the Wildstorm comics of the late 90s from Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch. How do we feel about this one?
You read The Authority? I've never read The Authority.
No, but it sounds like Suicide Squad.
No, I think it's...
Yeah, it really does.
I think it's probably going to be twisted around to be like The Boys. If my understanding of it is correct, they were like kind of the dark, gritty take on what a Justice League kind of thing would be like, or what if these powers really existed.
And The Boys is very James Gunn.
And if it's if it was Warren Ellis and it was around the 2000s, like, yeah, there's going to be some grimdark.
Yeah.
Up next, here's where you're going to get your Grant Morrison Brave and the Bold, a Batman film focused on Bruce and his son Damian, who was, of course, raised by Talia al Ghul and trained by the League of Assassins. This is going to see the return of Robin on screen for the first time since 1997.
Damn. Wow. Yeah, and he's a vegetarian this time. Never forget Bat Cow, one of Grant Morrison's greatest creations.
This is going to be just Batman within Chapter 1. They're still going to do the Matt Reeves Batman 2.
Yeah, they're denoting that there's like Elseworlds, which I think is smart. So it's like, this is in its own thing. Don't worry about this playing into continuity of the greater movies, which again is what I'm saying. Book a fucking Batman movie out every year. It doesn't have to be building towards some great thing, but like, it's such an easy concept. I digress.
Up next, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This is going to be based on the recent King and Evely's run of the book. It's going to be a bleak CW-esque type of tone.
Bleak?
CW-esque?
Yeah, bleak CW.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think, like Arrow was super mopey, but then like the Flash was quite literally like a ray of light during all of those, during that whole era of DC adaptations. Really, Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, I thought were like really fun comic booky kind of shows.
And then there was Supergirl, which we've already seen.
Yeah.
And that was like supposed to be really silly and stuff. So they're gritty rebooting Supergirl.
Yeah.
She's a Woman of Tomorrow.
Sure. I haven't read the Tom King run, so I don't know what's going on. Have not read. I'm like a decade behind on anything that's going on in like superhero comics. So.
Your last film installment in Chapter 1 will be Swamp Thing, which is going to investigate the dark origins of the character. It's said to contain elements of horror.
They also trashed that TV show. They already did a Swamp Thing show too.
Oh,
and they just got rid of it.
Was that?
Never mind.
Was that good or did I?
It was fine. I mean, it didn't really get into the Alan Moore Swamp Thing.
The green.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, they talk about that, but it could be cool. Swamp Thing's kind of crazy concept,
right?
Know? And if it's horror, is it just horror because he looks bad? That's mean.
No, I think it's horror because the only version anyone knows was the Vertigo version that came out in the late 80s when everything kind of felt dark and horror-y.
What's her dad?
Arcane?
Yeah. That's pretty horror. Sure. Okay. Pass.
Were you into the cartoon? You ever watch a Swamp Thing cartoon?
No.
They do a parody of the Trog's Wild Thing, but it goes Swamp Thing.
That sounds fucking cool.
And there's these toys that were really cool of all the bad guys. It was like insanity. They do whatever the hell you want with Swamp Thing, I guess, is what we're saying here. It doesn't matter.
They need to make a very drama, very like heavy on the drama, heavy on like the sadness of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
But drama. It has in romantic sides.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Alan Moore run.
Knock at the Swamp.
Yes.
He's a sad, horny, lonely guy.
Well, mixed feelings and a lot of I'll believe it when I see it from the gang on DC Chapter 1. Dylan, go ahead and tell us what we're watching next.
Regal Movie Masters Unlimited.
Yeah!
Hey, Regal Movie Masters Unlimited fam. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast. Join us next episode for the exciting return of everyone's favorite, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I can't talk for the rest of the group, but I am a fan of the Paul Rudd Ant-Man. And I also really love superhero movies. We also got Marlowe featuring Liam Neeson. Also, we do have an email for your questions and concerns and also movie requests. Recommend some movies to us. Our email is moviemasters760@gmail.com. It's moviemasters, the number 760@gmail.com. So if you got anything you want to say to us, please email us there. And please specify if you want us to read it on air and even name drop you. Anyway, guys, see you at the movies. Bye!